Hello and welcome to Across the Pond Aces. I am back this week. However, Samantha is not. She's taking an NFL bye week. We'll call it. Some teams do, some don't. I am joined this week with Kaz, and we're going to speak to Kaz in just a minute. But we do have those service announcements to make this week coming up. For anyone who's into soccer, we are be launching Across the Pond WSL this week. So, Women's Super League in England covering soccer. We've got some great hosts for you. One of them's going to be missing, and you will find out exactly why when you listen to that show. And it'll be a shocker. No one will expect it. So, you have to listen in when that show comes out. In a few weeks, we'll also have Across the Pond NWSL, which is going to be dropping. And just to on the basketball side, we are also potentially very soon going to have women's college basketball show, which we hope to start in the next month or so. We've got some hosts lined up already, and they're ready to go. So very soon, with the college year that's coming up, it's going to be phenomenal with the amount of talent that's in the college system right now. So it'll be fun to see those players through their college year and where they end up thereafter in the portal, in the WNBA draft. Who knows where they may end up? But Cass, let's talk about you.
Yeah.
And you're a big college basketball
Yes.
fan.
Yes.
I'm sure you would love to listen to a college basketball podcast.
Absolutely. More content, please.
Exactly. Now, Cass, let's get into you and your basketball
Mhm.
fandom. Like, say you like college sports,
Yeah.
college basketball. Obviously, an Aces fan. But if for those not watching on YouTube, but those on the podcast,
Right.
Cass is sporting a very nice Las Vegas Aces jersey, which we love. And tell us, like, why did you get into basketball? What was it that does that for you? That gives you that excitement?
Well, I have to go back to elementary, high school. I played. I have some player experience. And then I followed the Shock a little bit because I lived in Detroit at the time. So I followed them. Then kind of dropped off a little bit because I was in Louisiana for school. But as soon as I moved out here to Vegas and then Aces came on the block 2018, I was like, okay, let me see about this. And then 2019, I was sold. And then I've been riding them ever since. And we've been winning, so it's been fun.
They have been, and the thing you think about is they've been progressing since they
Mhm.
moved to Vegas as well. So you have seen that level of progression, and obviously which led to the first championship last season, which was a phenomenal season, and obviously one that we all wish they can repeat this year.
Right.
What about college ball though? Because did you go to? I think you went to Louisiana. So
Yes.
did you? Were you kind of following the college game at that time as well?
Not much, to be honest. I went to school for golf. I got a scholarship on a golf scholarship.
Golf.
So I was
Wow.
kinda in that realm a little bit. I had friends that were basketball players, but nothing too crazy. So I was like more focused on that for those few years. But as soon as I got out of college, I was following um, more WNBA than college. And then the last couple of years when Dawn Staley came on the map, and I started following Asia in her years, mostly South Carolina fan ish. But I do love Coach Yo, and I follow Tennessee as well. So I'm definitely an SEC fan.
Michelle will be over the moon that you mentioned Tennessee because obviously she's a Vols as well. So,
Yes.
nah, that is awesome, and I think that we always talk about the number of spots available in the WNBA, and you
Mhm.
see players drafted and then come in, and then by the start of the season they've all vanished, very much, um, with the exception of Valia Boston, who is just phenomenal, an absolutely
Yes.
phenomenal player. Played the
Yes, she
All-Star
is.
game in Vegas as well,
Mhm.
which was amazing to see actually.
I was
Uh,
there.
were
Front
you
row.
we were there too. We
Oh,
had we
really?
had we had coverage there, which was awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
Nuriel, she turned up for us and
Mhm.
covered. covered All Star.
Nice.
Now, with basketball being so prevalent now in
Mhm.
Las Vegas, and I was in Vegas back in February. One thing I noticed, and it's a bit of a sticking point for me, is if I went anywhere, I could buy a Raiders jersey, I could buy a Golden Knights jersey, I could buy every jersey under the sun, but I could not, for love nor money, get anything unless I went to the stadium to or the
Mhm.
arena to actually get something there. And unfortunately, my flight was too early out to get out of town, so I wasn't store wasn't even going to be open.
Mhm.
Is that an issue for Aces fans that they can only if you live in Vegas, you can only get it in one place or online, I guess?
Right. Brick and mortar stores in the city are have Aces gear, your Target, your Dick's kind of thing. But other than that, tourist wise, no, you can't find a drop of merch unless you go to a game or online. Um, so it is challenging, and I ask questions all the time, like, "You're missing out on dollars for some reason." I don't know if it's some licensing issue or what, but I definitely it is frustrating for, locals, especially locals, like, "Oh my god, I go to this popcorn shop," like, "You got a Raiders popcorn tin, but where's the Aces? What's going on?" I know tons of people
Yeah.
will buy it, but I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, it's a shame because I obviously when you're a tourist and you're leaving, especially when you're coming from abroad, so you're an
Mhm.
international tourist, you've got some spare dollars that you've not spent on your trip, and you want to
Right,
maybe drop them on a jersey. And I didn't
right.
get to do that, so I will eventually get a Kelsey Plum jersey at some point. Um, Hopefully soon, maybe we'll see. But moving on,
Okay.
so you go to All-Star game, you go to
Yes.
games in person, which is awesome. Must be a great insight. So, I've never had the opportunity to be at a game. What
Mhm.
is the atmosphere like? Because watching on TV on League Pass,
Right.
they do obviously they mess around with the volume, so you can't really hear the
Mhm.
crowd all that much because you have to listen to the commentary,
Mm.
but it still sounds pretty ruckus in there.
It is live, lit live, all the things. I am a season ticket holder. I live maybe 15 minutes away from the arena, 3 minutes away from the practice facility, but it's amazing. I'd have a routine. I go to the same bartender, get my drink, get my popcorn, sit down. Have my family around me with all the other season ticket holders, and we just yell at the refs. And well, that's mostly me, but and the MC, CJ, and our favorite Joe, they bring life to the party. All the different things that pop up for the different type of in-game activities and things like that. Halftime is always something amazing. You got some strip performer doing something every night. So it's like you're going to a show every night. So um I I'm biased, but I think it's probably one of the better. I did go to Seattle, like that arena, but not as live as Vegas. Because it's more of an intimate setting,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose Vegas is unique in the fact that, yeah, I mean, if you walk like even just 5 minutes down the strip, I mean, how many flyers are you past
Mhm.
from people that go see this show, go see this show, go see this show.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's definitely that kind of entertainment feel to Vegas where
Right.
they can bring in performers, which
Right.
I think that's awesome. Actually, I never actually thought about that because we don't get to see halftime on
Right.
League Pass,
Yeah.
so we only get to see like highlights of previous games and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
that'd probably be pretty cool if we could. But
Mhm.
so loving the games, which is awesome.
Mhm.
And this week, some awards were announced.
Mhm.
Now, there's an impact to these awards being announced. So the first award, Clark, who won Sixth Player of the Year, 100% deserved, and not being biased at all, like,
Right.
absolutely deserved.
Absolutely.
She comes off that bench and she makes a difference, and that is what the 6th player of the year you're looking for them to do.
Mhm. Definitely. I'll tell you this, when I first thought about this question, I was like, I was in Seattle, and I knew of Alicia Clark, I knew of her, I saw her in Washington, all that. But when she came in and hit that first corner 3, I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "This is who we need, this is who we need to come off the bench. She's gonna be key to everything." And I wasn't even looking at CP3, I was like, "This is the one. This is the one that's gonna hold us down." Um, and her defense was just great. So seeing her play in person for the first time in that setting, I'm not surprised that she's sixth woman of the year, from that perspective. But yes, everybody else does deserve. Um, I mean, she deserves it, but everybody else does deserve the honor as well. But yes, the biggest thing that I heard was the voting disparity. It could have been a tighter race, yes, but I think she should have won it ultimately.
Oh, yeah, she's been absolutely phenomenal all season long, and I I'm not a big fan of her being on the bench right now when CP went out, because I would have put Kia Stokes on the bench and started Clark. But obviously, if you did that, then she wouldn't be able to be 6th player of the year. So that there's
Yeah.
pros and cons. But when she does come off the bench, it is almost like, because sometimes I feel because our starters play so many minutes,
Mhm.
probably more than any other team, when she does come in, it is like a shot of adrenaline into the team where
Mhm.
all of a sudden, oh, they find another level and they can kind of carry on. So we do get that feel, and
Right.
she's been phenomenal, like I say,
Right.
all season long.
Right. And she gets I think the biggest thing is why I understand why she Becky keeps her on the bench is because she gives us points, okay? Kia kinda gets in there sometimes, she tries to find her shot or, a little cut to the basket. Chelsea finds her from time to time, but she's more of a guarantee that you'll get points off the bench than if Kia were. Um, and I just really think that, yes, our starters get heavy minutes, but they've been saying over and over that they just don't wanna come off the floor, so I don't know if it's more of a, competitive thing or Becky just, is, being overrided or whatever, but, I really think that AC is absolutely beneficial to our winning again, to be honest. If she keeps this 12, 14, couple steals here, I think it gives us a better chance in repeating.
When you can have someone that can play both ends of the floor, I think it
Mhm.
really, really helps to come in and give you that boost on both sides.
Right.
And I don't know, can anyone actually overrule Becky? That I can't imagine. Not with her giving out
No,
pushback.
no, but I think it did happen maybe once based off of my stalkerness and looking at things and watching every podcast I can. That time where they lost in Washington, she should have rested them, but they were like, "No, we want to play," and
I
that
suppose us
happened.
as fans, like, you wanna see the starters play every minute of the game
Yes,
anyway. So for us, yeah, we don't really care. We wanna see them play.
we want to
Um,
see them play, but
we wanna see play. Now another player that got an award this week now, there was a bit of a date change on this one, was Defensive Player of the
I,
Year. Was supposed to be later on,
the 5th
however,
of March.
the 5th of
No,
March,
the 5th of
5th of October
October. Sorry.
October, but it got moved forward to this week, and it was announced that Asia Wilson was Defensive Player of the Year. Now, that, for me, has been moved because they didn't wanna announce Breanna Stewart as MVP because there'd be this uproar, whereas now the WNBA can turn around and say, "Well, she did get Defensive Player of the Year."
That's one. hypothetical opinion, like because I don't know. They did this last year, and it was because they wanted Asia to have it on her home court or something to that effect. But I'm just not I'm just not sure why exactly. Somebody, Tarika Foster Brasby, I believe her name is, she said that it might be because um, it was leaked about the MIP and they wanted to get ahead of that. I say
Yeah.
that's a possibility too, but it
Mhm.
also could be possible as they could, announce, Stewie on whatever Sunday as well, or whenever, or Tuesday,
Yeah.
sorry.
Tuesday, yeah.
Um, but I mean, I don't know what can happen. I just think they just threw a wrench in the system to see how how crazy everybody would get, and they got real crazy.
So should we presume that it's still up for grabs then? That it's not necessarily going to go to Brianna?
Um, I mean, that's I think it might just go to Brianna. I think they did that as like your initial thought, but I think it could be anything. I have no I can't put a finger on it until I see it. You know what I mean? It could go to AT too. I don't know. I love Asia. I think she deserves it. I absolutely think what AT did was insane. Insane. Like, and no, and repeating it multiple times. So, and nobody's ever done that before in a season ever. So, that's like a thing. And then Asia, 53 points, bunkers, right? I don't know. It's a very difficult choice. I don't know how they made it. But it is they can't let Asia have three and Stewie have one situation too.
Yes, a little bit of politicking and
Yes.
narratives
Right.
coming into
So I
the.
don't know. I'm just gonna wait. I'm
We
just
we
gonna
will
pause until we actually hear something.
we will wait and see. Now, big Aces fan since
Mhm.
2018, like you mentioned. What is it that makes this team, this iteration of the team, special? Obviously, we started off with Bill Laimbeer. We have Becky Hammond.
Mhm.
Players have kind of come in and out. But what is it that makes this team this year so special?
I mean, from my point of view, I think that this is more business-like than I've ever seen them, even on socials. Like, I was waiting the petty, like, come on, give us the petty, and never got it. Maybe got one petty tweet when they won or whatever, but they were all business. They never, I mean, just on the front office side, they never posted about the AP votes, the AP rewards. I mean, I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, so, and then the girls are just doing their work. You see a little fun, but you don't see as much like outwardly fun stuff that they did like last year. So I think they're a lot more serious. And they want it more. They know they have a target on their back, and they literally came back even better, which I couldn't even think that was possible.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Asia, it's almost as if she's found a seventh, eighth, and ninth gear at times when
Right.
she's on the floor. Like, I think last year she was probably in sixth gear, no problem. Like, she was quite happy there. But this year, especially when CP3 went down,
Mhm.
she's just been absolutely phenomenal. And I think to what you're saying is, I think it's more the professionalism. Like, it's
Mhm.
fun to show us larking about and all this kind of stuff,
Mhm.
but we're here to do a job, and we don't wanna
Mhm.
stop at one championship. We wanna start a dynasty in Vegas, and the way to do
Yeah.
that is change the mentality a little bit. Yeah, let the Liberty
Mhm.
have their fun and dance around and all that kinda stuff, but, yeah, we're gonna
Mhm.
take this serious, and we're gonna show up every single game. Now,
Right.
our next games are against the Dallas Wings. Um, there
Right.
was 2 teams there was 2 teams at the beginning of the season that I thought could potentially cause us issues come playoffs. One was the
Mhm.
Sun. We don't have them, thankfully. The other was the Dallas Wings, because the Dallas Wings, a very young team, great new coach, and they just look real, really, really dangerous.
Yes, I believe so. I think it will be a challenge, but in those challenges, like they want them, because when we are up by 20, we don't really play the same like we did in the first quarter. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I think if it is a tight game, if it is a fight, I think that our resiliency and our experience uh, will outweigh, Dallas. Because as we were coming into this, we start cutting our turnovers down. I was like, if we're under 10 turnovers, we're gonna win the game. If we stay that way, it will be a easier game for us. And Dallas, 14, 18 turnovers a game. Like if you do that to the Aces, I'm sorry, that's just not gonna work. Even in their last game, I think they had 14 turnovers. So if they don't cut that down, then I see it being a not easier, but more manageable situation for the Aces to um, win this upcoming series. I think turnovers are going to be the key because shooting is going to go down because everybody's tighter playing, a little bit tighter basketball. But that's what I think.
Hmm. Who is the biggest threat on that Wings team?
For me, if it's gonna for me, it's Big T. Um, I think if they just let their defense. We don't pressure, you know, on the 3-point line, and they just pass it into Big T all day. She's gonna get 20 points and 12 O boards, and it's not gonna be as easy. So I think if you try to neutralize her as much as possible, maybe keep her at 10-10. I think you have a better chance. But I think she's gonna be the key. Um, and for our lack of size down there on the defensive end.
Yeah, we do have Kia there, but after that, it's a bit of a struggle. Now, do you have a prediction? Are we going to just sweep this series, or are Dallas going to take a game?
I'm I'm gonna give respect to Dallas because this is not this you don't want to be disrespectful going into a series because and I've been toying back and forth. But then I can see the 2019 Aces pop in there every once in a while and take a L. um I I am for something happens crazy, aces and 5, but I'll go with aces and 4.
In 4. Awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same. I think we give up a game in Dallas, but I think, yeah, I think we'll take it in 4. Now, last question. Mark Davis, season's done. He wants to go on a longer vacation. He's had a tough year. He still owns the Raiders after all. So he's having a tough year. Wants to take a
Right.
longer vacation. Free agency is on the horizon. And he says to you, he says, Cass, go pick me a free agent, anyone you like in the league, and go get them. Which player do you go and get, and why are they the player that you go pick up?
That's a good question. And you only give me one. So Courtney Williams. Sorry, Courtney Williams.
Oh, don't be sorry. I would take Courtney Williams. Like, can you imagine the energy that she's gonna bring?
And if she's willing to come off the bench. I like her because her midi is dangerous. Um, and she got a nice 3 ball. I know she might be a little be lacking the defensive. coach her up on that. But I think her energy would be great. Um, yeah, Imma just go with that. There's no real I mean, Brianna Jones is not leaving Con, and I know she just got injured and all that. So if Brianna Jones didn't get injured, it would be her.
I like the Courtney Williams pick. We had Courtney Williams on our WNBA show or on our first season. She was a guest on our show, and that is one thing we talked about. We talked about the energy that she can bring
Mm.
to a team. And you're right. Like, you imagine having Clark and then Williams coming off the bench. Yeah, you're right about the defense. But I think like what she brings energy wise. I mean, you remember when they did the USA against the WNBA All Stars? Like she, and you know what's funny though? You don't just get Courtney Williams when you sign Courtney Williams. You also get Courtney Williams' dad, who if you see him at games, and he is very noticeable because he does not stop jumping around the entire time that she is on the floor. In fact, I even think he does it just the entire game. But he just jumps up and down and he's cheering and he's getting the people around him kind of rowdy as well. So you don't just get Courtney, you also get Courtney's dad.
I'll take
So
it. It's Vegas.
it's Vegas. Yeah, we'll just put our cards on the table right now. Awesome. Well, Cass, thank you so much for standing in for Samantha, who's taken her NFL bye week this week. We will be back next week, and when we come back next week, by that point, we will have played a couple of games, and we will know where our chips are going to lie going into the meteor section of the playoffs. So do join myself and Samantha next week. If you are a Liberty fan, also, you can go check out the New York Liberty podcast with Kirsten and Stacia, and also releasing probably has been released just before this podcast is Across the Pond WNBA with myself and Michelle, where we do a deep dive into Satu Sabli, who we're obviously going to play against the Wings. So check that out as well. But we will see you all very soon. So have a great week, everyone.